Do not adjust your television sets. It is Friday and not Saturday, and the Brainless One is going to be live with Cousin Jay on everyone's favorite podcast on a Friday night edition of the F and Marks podcast. We got quite a bit we have to get into today. A lot of fucking news that actually came out this week. We're going to talk about Bray Wyatt. We're going to be talking about Adam Cole, baby. We're going to be talking... God damn it. Something tells me I'm not going to be wearing the headphones very long for this podcast because for whatever reason my phone is being ridiculous with this freaking... the headphones. Yeah. All right, yeah. Headphones are going away. What's up, Jessica? Thanks for tuning in for the Friday edition of the podcast. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Headphones are going bye-bye. Because it just doesn't seem like it wants to cooperate this week. But like I said, we have quite a bit we have to get into today. We're going to be talking about Bray Wyatt, like I said, Adam Cole. We're going to be discussing a little bit about Pete Dunne, because that was kind of a surprise this week. Malachi Black made his debut in the ring on AEW this past Wednesday. It appears that Ruby Soho, who is FKA Ruby Riott, has made her decision on what she's going to be doing for her future. We're also going to be talking about how a couple of WCW GOATs went in and had a wonderful match, considering they haven't worked together in 20 years. And Jay is ready for the podcast. Boom. And here we... Yeah?
Yeah.
What's up, Jay?
Hey, not much, man. Keeping it real.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Happy Friday. I love the fact that you got your Hawaiian shirt on, so obviously that's such good shit.
Hawaiian shirt Friday. I'm sorry, everybody, I did not. There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
So now you're here, I think we give them the proper introduction. Welcome, everyone, to episode 233 of the F and Marks podcast.
I'm Jay.
And I am the Brainless One.
Yeah.
As I was saying, Jay, we have a lot to get into this week, and it's incredible all the stuff that we have to talk about this week.
Well, and the thing is we're going to try to get this all in extremely quickly because we would like to finish before SmackDown.
Yes, I need to see the head of the table, the tribal chief. I need to acknowledge our Universal Champion this evening.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, we got quite a bit. I mean, there's a shocking, probably the most shocking release we've had in God only knows how long.
Since Braun Strowman and since Bray Wyatt.
We did have a couple of releases this week in WWE. There's a couple other people who are rumored to have their contracts expire rather soon that we're going to get into. Formerly known as Aleister Black, made his in-ring debut on Wednesday. Ruby Riott, now known as Ruby Soho, made her decision on her future once her 90-day non-compete is up. Couple of guys in your wheelhouse from the golden days of WCW, as Chris Jericho fought, this is not a misprint, Juventud Guerrero.
Yeah.
One of my personal favorites in the cruiserweight division of ECW. There's a little bit of controversy in regards to Max Caster.
Max Caster said some things that you're just kind of like, really, dude?
Yeah.
All right.
And anything else that anybody else wants to talk about this week, we will get into. Unfortunately, and I hate the fact that this seems like it happens a lot, and it seems like it's been happening a lot lately, but unfortunately, we have to start today's show on a somber note, as should be WWE Hall of Famer, and without question, one half of one of the greatest tag teams, and not just WCW or NWA or WCCW, just in general, the Midnight Express. But one of my personal favorites, beautiful Bobby Eaton, passed away yesterday at the age of 62. He was a week and a half, maybe a couple weeks away from what was supposed to be his 63rd birthday.
You know, the thing that's a shame about this is, like, you know, he almost died a few years back. I think he had some heart issues, and you know, once something like that happens, you know, it's like you don't know how much longer you're going to have. Similar to years ago with Vader. All right, he had congestive heart failure, and like going, all right, they're saying this is how long he may have to live, and it's like when you start having heart issues, you know, you just never know. And you know, apparently the other day, I think it was his daughter woke up and found him, and that's just tragic.
Bobby Eaton, and I don't know, I have a good feeling you're probably going to agree with me on this. Bobby Eaton is, without question, the most underrated wrestler of all time. And if anything, he's also one of the most underappreciated wrestlers of all time.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I mean, the only reason why I would put him above like Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson's appreciated more because he was in the Four Horsemen.
Right.
But I think Arn Anderson gets overlooked for all he did in the ring during his career. You know, being probably the greatest television champion of all time.
No question.
Multiple tag team championships, whether WWF, NWA, WCW, with several different partners. So, you know, the list goes on and on for Arn Anderson. But, you know, beautiful Bobby Eaton. Everybody says, like, not only was he one of the greatest and one of the smoothest in the ring, he had no problem helping other people out. He made everybody look good that was in the ring with him. When he had his run as television champion, I think it was in 1991. I mean, really good run. He had a lot of really good matches. Trying to think, there were a couple of standout ones, and for whatever reason, I am blanking on them right now. All I know is, okay, here we go. He and Ric Flair in a 2 out of 3 falls match at Clash of Champions. It was not Clash 13. I can't remember the Clash right now, but a 2 out of 3 falls match between the world champion and the TV champion. And obviously both those guys in their prime going at it in the ring. I mean, yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. But beautiful Bobby was a master of tag team wrestling, and he was an extremely good singles competitor. I mean, the only weakness in his game was he wasn't the strongest promo, but that's what Jim Cornette was there for.
Yep. And I'll say too, that to kind of add on to that Alabama Slam or the Alabama Jam that he used to do, that leg drop off the top rope was just unbelievable. One of top 5 finisher for me all time. It's incredible that he was able to put it off, and he did a hell of a job. He was a great in-ring performer. And it's funny that you did mention Clash of the Champions 13, because he didn't wrestle, but Bobby Eaton technically appeared at the greatest Clash of the Champions of them all, as he was scheduled to team up with the Fabulous Freebirds, and they were supposed to take on the Southern Boys and El Gigante, but El Gigante had some issues getting to the arena. I want to say it was like visa issues. I think they were playing off back then. And
and he showed up later with the Wild Eyed Southern.
Right. And then they were like, and you know, it always sticks out with me. And due to the fact that El Gigante is not here, beautiful Bobby Eaton is no longer in this match. And it's just like the reactions and everything. But again, a tremendous in-ring performer. Like you said, he had no problems helping anybody out, and just the outcry over the last day or two from all the wrestlers, even one of our personal favorites, the Man Scout, spoke so glowingly of Beautiful Bobby and what he meant to the wrestling community. They definitely lost a good one.
Yeah. And it's a bummer that, I know that Beautiful Bobby did not have a run in WWF. That has not stopped WWE from putting people into their Hall of Fame who have done things to better the wrestling business. And he is a glaring omission. There are many glaring omissions, but Vince McMahon talks about how he doesn't want the Hall of Fame to be sad by announcing a bunch of dead people. Well, guess what? Put the people who deserve to be in there in the damn Hall of Fame so they don't die.
Yeah. And the one that always sticks, and I know it really just sours your craw over, is the fact that they never put Vader in, especially because Vader, without question,
they knew
Vader,
he was on borrowed time.
Yep, they did.
They knew it. And his run in WWF wasn't what it could have been, and part of it was Shawn Michaels. Part of it was Vader was not in the same shape that he was, 3 or 4 years before. When you're that big, it's almost like the cliff. Like, you're really good, you're really good, you're really good, and then precipitous decline.
Yes.
And that happened to Andre the Giant, too. It's like, in the early to mid-'80s, you sit there and see his matches against, like, Hulk Hogan and Shea Stadium, and it's like 5-6 years later, then all of a sudden he just couldn't move.
What was it? It was him against, Antonio Inaki when they were in Japan?
He did that. He did Giant Baba, too, I believe.
I want to say it was the match against Inoki. Like, he was doing moves that, granted, when I started watching wrestling, Andre was more near the end of, on the decline of his career. So I didn't really get to appreciate what Andre was as an in-ring performer. But, like, watching some of those matches that he had in Japan where he's doing, like, these flips and Hurricane Ranas and all this stuff, it's like, this is the same guy.
Well, and the thing was, is later in his career, I think he had more of a presence. He didn't have to do anything. He just needed to stand and stare at you and just be a giant.
Right.
So, but, again, like, Vince McMahon, stop letting these people die before you put them in your Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
Stop.
It's a shame. Hey, but Beautiful Bobby's in our Hall of Fame.
And that's why we have our Hall of Fame.
Yes. As is Vader, as in a whole bunch of other people who deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame who are not.
Demolition.
Yeah. King Kong Bundy.
Yeah.
I mean, we could, like I said before, and I'll say it again.
Yeah, we could go on for days.
Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're saying that we should dedicate an entire weekend marathon, 48-hour-long podcast to people who should be in the WWE Hall of Fame that are not.
And what we'll do is we'll start it during the WrestleMania pre-show.
No, we got to start it
during by the time WrestleMania finally finishes.
Maybe we should start it during the Kofi Kingston gauntlet match, and then by the time it's over, Seth Rollins will probably have his last opponent from his gauntlet match.
Sure.
And we'll still be waiting for the Iron Sheik.
So, yeah, exactly.
All right, So I'd say we just get to there's an elephant in the room and we need to discuss it. It's something that's really been just pissing me off since it's happened. I say we get right into it. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt.
All right.
So Bray Wyatt earlier this week, I want to say it happened right after the podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
It happened during the podcast.
It happened during the podcast.
The last thing we talked about.
Yes, it was.
And we didn't get into deep details about it, but like Bray was released as we were doing the podcast last Saturday.
That's right. I mean, here we are a week later, and we're still trying to figure out what the fuck.
You know, supposedly he was just medically cleared to return to the ring. We don't know what kind of medical issue it was. You know, based off of reports, you know, we've seen over the months, it seems his medical issue was similar to Simone Biles. It was a mental health issue.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a you know, physical body issue where there was an injury. So it stinks that you sit there and, all right, this guy's ready to come back. And, you know, he keeps on, he kept on reinventing himself and getting each of those things over as something. And I almost want to say that Rusev had the same issue. He kept on getting crap and kept on getting it over.
Damien
And
Sandow.
they didn't like it for some reason. Hey, this isn't supposed to get over. This is supposed to be something to bide time. And, but, you know, Bray just kept on coming up with stuff. And you're like, hey, that's pretty freaking great. Love that. But, you know, allegedly after the release of Bray Wyatt, there are a lot of people now within WWE wondering, like, well, I'm not safe. I mean, how do you take one of your best characters, one of your best character innovators, and drop them? And now you have a whole bunch of people on the roster fearing for their jobs. Guess what? I don't think that's going to make them perform better.
Nope.
I think it's going to make it worse. So we follow up that release. Well, if you got more to say about it,
I guess my biggest issue that I have with them releasing him is at the end of the day, you need to go out there, you need to perform, and you need to make money. That's what Vince McMahon looks for. You have to get, and that's exactly what I was actually going to bring up, Nicole. Thank you. I was actually going to say, like, how much money did Bray Wyatt make Vince McMahon? For crying out loud, Jay, they created a championship belt. It was ugly as sin, but they created a championship belt for him, and they sold it on the website. I mean, that thing was like thousands of dollars when it first came out, and it still was like $300 or $400 when they realized that nobody was going to be dumb enough to spend four figures on a piece of plastic belt. But it's just like they had the frickin' Firefly Funhouse characters, the stuffies, they had T-shirts up the ass. I mean, they did everything they possibly could for that man. I mean, they made so much merchandise. They sold a whole bunch. I mean, hell, I got the action figure right here of the Fiend. I got the Funko Pop. I wish I thought of it a little bit earlier, but I got the Funko Pop up there of the Fiend. I know Bray Wyatt is somewhere in the man cave. You know, it's crazy. I mean, Nicole's got a Bray Wyatt T-shirt.
Yeah.
We spent a significant amount of money on his merchandise alone, and then they just get rid of him 2 days after he gets cleared. After they were promoting him for, I think it was this upcoming
live
Raw.
events. Yeah.
So it's just it's mind blowing that they're doing this. And
so, and when they're saying budgetary cuts, what I think WWE would like to do, the schizophrenia or the bipolarness of the brains of Vincent Kennedy McMahon and all the stuff going on right here is you get rid of somebody who brings in money, and my bet is they would like to keep Bray Wyatt around, my guess. But they don't want to pay him what they've been paying him. Right. Similar to the Braun Strowman thing. But, and I want to dovetail this into two other things. They don't want to lose Adam Cole. I'm sorry.
Adam Cole, baby!
And Pete Dunne. Because guess what? very similar to the Malachi Black situation. They botched both of their contracts, thinking both of them were locked up until like close to the end of the year. Adam Cole's contract was up a month ago, and he has just in good faith agreed to stick around until SummerSlam. Supposedly tonight, he is probably right now meeting with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, having a meeting about his contract. Supposedly Adam Cole has things outside of wrestling that he might be doing, you know, but how do you let go of a guy that is a proven commodity to make money for you? By the way, his wife also is no longer with the company.
We just found that out a couple days ago.
Yeah, and apparently that's a few months back they let her go. But somebody who can make money, and like you just let him go, and then you got somebody you want to keep around to help build NXT can still basically your top star on NXT.
I can't argue that one.
And one of the guys that you can build the future around.
Yeah.
Not that it's exactly the same, but it also reminds me of around WrestleMania 20 time, The Rock's contract expired.
Yep.
Your top guy, because Stone Cold Steve Austin was no longer an in-ring performer.
Yep.
The Rock, your top guy, you let his contract expire. And you're like going, oh, we didn't know it was the end of your contract. You can't tell me you didn't know. Like, that's your top guy. Isn't there somebody there that should be keeping track of this damn stuff? This is like 3 things contractually wise in the last couple of months that they really screwed the pooch on. Whoever is overseeing that, I don't know how they still have a job.
I can understand like you can forget about one person, like the whole Aleister Black situation. That's just like you weren't paying attention. And what blows my mind about it is the fact that Ricochet, who came up the same day as Aleister Black, got a brand new contract and had his non-compete clause extended to 90 days instead of 30, because down in NXT you only have to deal with a 30-day. So the fact that somebody screwed the pooch on that one with Aleister Black, and after that, and he's just coming out last month and just hammering WWE, which I love that. But the fact is you let it happen with Adam Cole. I mean, I can understand Aleister Black because, Aleister Black was one of those high mid-card guys who had the potential of being a main event star if he was booked properly.
Well, I mean, that we don't need to go into that, but I mean,
right,
with what they did with Big E, that was just dumb. The whole thing was dumb.
But for me, them with Adam Cole's contract expiring the way, that's just
unacceptable.
It's terrible. That's a terrible work ethic or whatever you want to call it. It's just stupid. And now Pete Dunne, whose contract ends after SummerSlam, so you got 2 big-time guys. And I'll tell you right now, Adam Cole, all Tony Khan has to do is make that phone call and be like, hey, your friends from New Japan are here. Your girlfriend is here. Here's a buttload of money. Come to my company. And Adam Cole would probably go in a heartbeat. Pete Dunne, I will say this. Pete Dunne, I got a feeling he's going to resign. I think that at the end of the day, Pete Dunne's contract is definitely going to get done. I really do hope that. I saw what I did. But Adam Cole, I think if he's having a meeting tonight with Vince McMahon right before SmackDown, I think something's going to get done.
Well, I mean, I guess it shows you how much Vince McMahon is frightened.
But wait,
we really screwed this up.
But Jay, how can he be frightened? Remember, he said that he doesn't see AEW as competition.
To be fair, he said not the same type of competition as WCW.
Right. Fair enough.
But even so, to me that this just a lot of egg in the face of WWE with all the contractual botches, the, in my view, extreme screw ups as far as releasing people. Like, why did they have to release Samoa Joe only to bring him back 3 weeks later? Why'd they? What was it? Just so they could pay him less? Okay, good for you. You're a good business person, but don't try to act like your company's effing losing money.
Right. I mean, how many times have we mentioned
you're making more money than you've ever made?
There it is. How many times have we mentioned that too? And another thing about these releases, how do you let a 16-time world champion just release them?
So, I mean, according to Ric Flair, we have not heard the WWE side, but Ric Flair said there were business opportunities that he wanted to go for, and his WWE contract wouldn't let him. And there are reports out there that he did not like the storyline when he was going to be the baby daddy for why am I blanking on her name right now?
Lacey Evans.
Neither of them apparently, like Lacey Evans and Ric Flair, weren't comfortable with it, but Ric was, I guess, trying to be a team player about it. In general, I think Flair said he wasn't a fan of how his daughter was being booked, but there were a few things, and one of the things Ric Flair specifically, he talked about 3 things that he wants to do business-wise, one of which is he's going to have a line of wines come out.
Oh, good.
According to him, he's also going to have his own network. And supposedly he's also going to have comic books.
Okay. Number 1, is there anything in this world that Ric Flair cannot do?
Stay celibate.
Get married once.
Right. But no, like, the dude has name recognition all over the world.
Well, of course.
And I'm sure that, like, his contract with WWE, I'm sure he was paid pretty dang well, because even though Ric Flair cannot go in the ring anymore, he still has name recognition, and I'm sure Vince McMahon would prefer him not showing up on AEW.
Agree.
Prefer. Not saying he doesn't, like, be like, oh, he can't go there, I have to stop that no matter what. But I think his preference would be he doesn't show up on AEW. Maybe he would at some point, but I think Rick also knows that, maybe they'd take it out on Charlotte just a little bit. Maybe she wouldn't get to her 17th title reign by the time SummerSlam comes around. But with all that being said, Ric Flair said he was the one who requested the release. He sent a message to Vince McMahon. He's like, there's no animosity there. We had different opinions of how to go forward. I think part of it was Rick wanted his freedom to do the line of lines, freedom to have the network, his network. I personally, that sounds like a stretch to me. And a comic book, I mean, if it's about all the crazy stories in his life, that could be very interesting. If they make it like story time with WWE, the ones that were narrated by Mean Gene Okerlund on the network, that could be very interesting. I think the wine is definitely happening. I'm extremely skeptical of the other 2.
I can see that.
I think we might see Ric Flair with like a YouTube channel doing stuff, but a network, no, I highly doubt it. It's very hard to get a network.
I could see a comic book, and it's freaking Ric Flair, and like you said, there's so much material you could use on Ric Flair. I mean, you could do a comic book about either of the 2 plane crashes. You can have the comic book about his matches with Ricky Steamboat. the formation of the Four Horsemen. There's so much material you can use with Ric Flair. And hell, if they
Space
had
Mountain.
Space Mountain. Woo!
The woo off.
And it's funny because the day he got released, or he asked for his release, there was somebody on Twitter was like, now that Ric Flair has been released, it's time for me to share one of my favorite moments of wrestling history, and it was the woo-off between him and Jay Lethal, which is one of the damn funniest things. If you haven't seen it from
TNA Impact,
there was a woo-off between Jay Lethal and Ric Flair. I'll tell you, Jay Lethal killed it.
Well, and Ric Flair took his wife or girlfriend or fiance at the time and said, hey, come here. Hey. And he would say this to Jay Lethal, do me. And he would just think it was the funniest thing that Jay Lethal had like the spot on impression of Ric Flair.
Oh, it was tremendous.
Yeah. It was as good as his Black Machismo character.
Jay Lethal was creative, if anything.
I enjoyed Lethal Consequences. He and Xavier Woods, former TNA Tag Champions, that they were a fun team to watch. But yeah, because you had Austin Creed, wearing the Apollo Creed red, white, and blue shorts, and then you got Black Machismo doing his Macho Man shtick. It was great.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Love that stuff.
But yeah, really, Ric Flair getting released, it was like, well, didn't see that one coming.
No.
But allegedly within all this, there are rumors that Alexa Bliss has asked for her release. And I don't know if that's because of what happened with Bray Wyatt. Their characters obviously were
intertwined.
And that's how her character ended up how she is right now. And I don't know. I don't know if I believe that rumor. I saw it, but I did not see it in a lot of places. Usually if you see it in a lot of places, it's most likely true. If you see it in like sporadic, it's like, all right, it might not be true, but
well, then again, I mean, Dave Meltzer never talked about it. And if Dave Meltzer talks about it, then it's got to be something. He's Dave Meltzer. Yeah, he's the greatest wrestling mind of the
Dave Meltzer.
Dave Meltzer.
It's my friend.
Kenny Omega is my favorite wrestler.
Did you, all right, you mentioned Kenny Omega. Did you have the loudest, did you laugh out loud when Kenny Omega referred to Hangman Page? He referred to Hangman Page as a try-hard. Because when I heard him say it, I'm like, pot, meet the kettle.
No.
I laughed.
I can't with Kenny Omega. When I found out that they paid, I think it was Nicole, I think said something like, I think it was $50,000 for the song that they played. I think it was "Let's Get Ready to Rumble." And like that whole thing from a week and a half ago really just irked me because you're heels, but you're being the Toon Squad. You all ready for this?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. Honey, can you come here for a second, please?
Yeah.
But I just
yeah, when he referred to Hangman as the try-hard, I'm like going, no, dude. You're the try-hard. You're the dirt-face try-hard.
Yeah. He looks. I'm gonna.
Sorry, there's a delay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Please. Sorry.
So another thing that did happen AEW-wise this week, Domino's did pull their ad from Dynamite, and it got replaced with a PBR ad starring Zack Ryder, a.k.a. Matt Cardona.
Oh, you know what that means, Jay? I got to do it. Woo, woo, woo. You know
it. So
I love the fact that, since you brought that up, I love the fact that he came out and posted a picture of him, and he's like, I felt like ordering pizza, so I got Domino's, and he had like a stack of Domino's pizza with the championship from that night that he won it, and I was like, Zack Ryder is God. I love that man. He was another one that we were just talking about with people who made a lot out of. Thank you. Who made a lot out of.
Not much.
Yeah, he turned chicken shit into chicken salad. But
with him, he turned nothing into something. That was his problem. Like, they weren't putting him on TV. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to come up with a YouTube show and I'm going to have some fun. And I remember part of his thing, like, they said I can't draw money, and then like he drew a dollar bill on a piece of paper, and I'm like, you're good, Zack Ryder.
That dude, that night he won the U.S. Championship from Dolph Ziggler. That crowd went absolutely bananas.
When the Rock came back for his first match in 8 years in the ring, Survivor Series, with John Cena going against The Miz and R-Truth. I don't know how R-Truth was able to make it through the match, going against his childhood hero, John Cena. But at the end of the match, this is the first match The Rock had in 8 years. And Madison Square Garden is chanting for Zack Ryder.
There you go.
And Vince McMahon didn't like the fact that he got himself over. That's not good shit, pal.
Yep.
Anyway.
Shit, I just had a thought and I lost it. Oh, because we were just talking about chants. In fact, and it was funny too, because this past Monday on Raw, they were in Chicago, Illinois. They said that during the Goldberg thing where he came out and had his confrontation with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And they were chanting, "We want Wyatt and CM Punk."
Well, Vince McMahon, you wanted the crowds back.
Yep.
You got them. You wanted to go to Chicago, figuring it'll hype up SummerSlam, and you know, my thoughts as far as Lashley and Goldberg go, you know, hey, I think Goldberg still gets people to buy tickets, which is why they keep bringing him back. Again, confusing when The Fiend gets people to buy tickets and you release him, but
for budgetary cuts.
Bray, we have to release you because of budgetary reasons. And I sound constipated right now, and I sound like I'm eating a snowball. But people power. I think it was cool though that Goldberg wants to incorporate his son into it. You know, it's going to lead at least to a little bit of something.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked how it was just, you know, Lashley and MVP trash talking his son. I was half surprised that he wasn't physically involved in some way to get Goldberg to steam over into absolute rage.
Yeah.
But that might be coming in the next couple of weeks just to give this feud another bit of fuel.
Agreed.
Where they actually physically do something to Goldberg's son.
I'll tell you right now, that was a giant mind fuck for me, because that was the same kid that we saw 3-4 years ago when Goldberg came back, and for whatever reason, the kid took his shirt off in the ring, and I'm like, I don't get why a 12 or 13-year-old kid is taking his shirt off in the ring. And then seeing him, when his dad first came back and everything, he seemed so excited and all that stuff, and he could not have looked any more disinterested than he did on Monday. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, you are the son of Bill fucking Goldberg. The man with 173-0 before Kevin Nash screwed him out of the title, I think, at Halloween Havoc or Bash at the Beach, I think.
I thought it was Halloween Havoc.
I want to say it was Halloween Havoc. But, like, it's Goldberg. When you think of WCW, especially
Mr. But you're thinking, like, Mr. Intensity, and, like, you would think his son would have some of it, but maybe his son's developing it, and, you know, it's also, like, you know, you get to be a high schooler, and there's always that phase where, like, one, your parents aren't cool, and two, you don't really know up from down. And
I get that, but it's like two things. Number one, you're on national television. And number two, I can understand the fact that, yeah, your parents are not cool. Your father's fucking Bill Goldberg. I'm sorry. Are you fucking kidding me? Bill Goldberg's son.
I mean, you're the son of Diablo Blanco.
El Diablo Blanco, see.
Yeah.
But that's different.
It's probably not.
No, you're probably right.
El Diablo Blanco, I'm sure in the Philippines is like, it's like Manny Pacquiao, Batista, El Diablo Blanco.
It's Manny Pacquiao, Dave Batista, Benny Agbayani, and then El Diablo Blanco. Right. Oh, and that singer dude from the Black Eyed Peas, I think he's just under my father.
Okay, yeah. Anyway,
real quick. Speaking of people who got released from WWE, Ruby Riott was part of the budget cuts earlier this year, and it appears that, you know, now that she's changed her name to Ruby Soho, but it appears that she is headed to AEW once her contract expires.
Okay, hey, you know, AEW certainly could use a bit of a boost in the women's division.
Agreed.
Ruby, you know, I'm not going to completely fault WWE with her. I'm going to say injuries.
Yeah.
Really just kind of torpedoed any momentum that she ever got.
And another thing that definitely didn't help her was the fact that Liv Morgan, during the time that Ruby Riott was out with the injury, did the best that she could, got herself better in the ring, and now she's something. And she's established herself in the women's division. I could see, if it's not by the end of this year, early next year, expect big things for Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Anything's better than that drizzle shits thing that she did with Rusev and Lana and Bobby Lashley with, oh, God, that was terrible.
The West.
Oh, shit. I was just watching that before the podcast, by the way.
Oh, great.
I love that fucking show.
Yes. Parks and Rec is a GOAT show.
And the more I watch, the more I love John Ralphio.
Yes. Like, when you first see him, you're like, this dude annoys the ever-living hell out of me. And then he becomes like that parasite where you're just like, yeah, every time he's on, I have to see him because I kind of want to punch him.
Yeah.
Because he's just so annoying. And then, like, after, you're like going, he's just always there.
Yeah.
Something always happens.
And then bringing in Henry Winkler to play his father was fantastic casting.
And his sister.
Yeah. Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, fuck.
He loves being the worst.
He does. All right, let's see.
Just going to do a quick injury update with Natalya Neidhart. So she had surgery. Apparently there was actually no bone broken, but I think there were some issues with cartilage and ligaments, but they had to put in some hardware into her leg, and they actually believe that she may be ready to go in less than a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was as of a few days ago. So like 3 weeks. She said after the surgery, she basically has been off crutches since the third day.
Yeah.
And she, I believe, is already on a
Training regimen.
yeah. She's been doing walking on what the heck's the thing that's in your house and treadmill. She's been
Oh,
doing
okay.
walking on treadmill.
Gotcha.
So
I give it about another week before she's back in the ring training again, just to get back to where she was.
but that's good news. You don't want to see somebody lose the title to injury. You know, if you're not Goldberg or not Goldberg, if you're not Brock Lesnar, you know, that 30-day clause is for everybody but Brock.
And if The Rock wins the title, or John Cena wins the title, or somebody else who's not a full-time WWE employee.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because John Cena came out and did an interview earlier this week, and they had asked him, you know, you're only signed for X amount of dates coming up. What would it take for you to stay with WWE a little bit longer? And he said, you know, with my schedule and everything, he goes, I'd love to stay longer. He goes, but if I win the title, is it out of the realm of possibility that John Cena can beat Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the title?
Yes.
Really?
I think so.
I could see Vince McMahon pulling that petty bullshit, because Ric Flair, who was with the company, is a 16-time champion, and they don't want to punish Charlotte. So what's one way to get back at Ric Flair? Put the title on John Cena.
Ric Flair said he's okay with Cena beating his record. I think he would prefer his daughter to do it, but as far as all that goes, I just don't see it. Roman Reigns will not lose until possibly losing to his cousin.
Okay.
And I would put that at minimum, like minimum chance of him losing, because they might do a thing where they have Roman lose to The Rock and then
Win it back.
yes,
And that's
possible they can do that.
but
I find that highly unlikely.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, because when I was typing up on Twitter we sent out the tweet before the show and everything, and I was going through the timeline a little bit, and somebody had asked, blank will dethrone Roman Reigns as Universal Champion. And yes, the thought of like John Cena winning the title for a 17th time against Roman Reigns is such a, it's intriguing to me, because you know me,
Yeah.
I love chaos, and John Cena winning the title would be absolute chaos. But I could not give a definitive answer of who I think is going to take the title from Roman Reigns, because I really don't think they have anybody that can take the title from Roman Reigns.
The one person that can and would not hurt him is Big E.
Agreed.
He has a crazy match against John Cena at SummerSlam, and then Big E comes and cashes in. And a couple months down the line, Roman Reigns gets the title back, starts his feud with The Rock at Survivor Series, and then we get Rock and Roman at WrestleMania.
That would be, yeah, I could see that definitely being the case. And hopefully the Iron Sheik's in the ring by then.
Yes, it'll be close. I know this one is going to be a nail biter, and I just hope that he gets there.
If he doesn't, that is, again, the biggest drop ball in WWE history.
Right. The biggest drop ball is not Bray Wyatt getting released.
No, it's Bobby handed you this beautiful thing, and you had 21 years to set yourself up for this, and you can drop the ball.
Well, they have several months to plan this. A big moment at WrestleMania. Michael Cole, if we see Iron Sheik at WrestleMania 38, we'll have to recall it a WrestleMania moment, so that way it'll ruin it for me.
And then we're going to either need Pat McAfee or Corey Graves to say by the time the Iron Sheik gets in the ring, it's going to be WrestleMania 59.
What I would have loved to see is, before Michael Cole could even say that this is a WrestleMania moment, Pat McAfee goes full McAfee.
Oh my God, it's the Iron Sheik! Are you kidding me? The legend is here!
Bobby Heenan predicted this.
It's so, if they don't, it's going to be such a sad, sad affair.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't either.
So everybody else who's out there, one, what do you think about the possibility of Roman Reigns losing the title at SummerSlam to John Cena? And will we see the Iron Sheik at WrestleMania 38? Do you want to see the Iron Sheik at WrestleMania 38 as bad as we do?
I don't think anybody wants to see him at 38 more than you and I do. Except maybe Jeff. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. F. Mark's Hall of Famer El Jefe.
Yeah.
But, all right. What else we got here?
Well, so we had Max Caster during an episode of AEW Dark do a rap where let's just say that he was trying to be a heel and trying to kind of sort of be funny a little bit, but it, you know, our society in general is getting there are less things you can make fun of.
Yeah.
But he took, the face of the Olympics, not just the United States team, the face of the Olympics, Simone Biles, and talked about her and her mental health issues. Yep. And just it. I know he's a heel, but there are certain things where you're just like, that's not in good taste. And then he brought up the Duke lacrosse players, and they did not do anything to the woman who claimed that she was raped by them, but more or less he was making a rape joke.
Yeah.
And they edit that show. They edit it. So somebody watched it and was like, oh yeah, this is great. And not thinking about this other stuff that, like, maybe this is too far. So allegedly after this, Tony Khan said he did not see it beforehand because he isn't, as intimately involved with Dark. But now he says, I will be the person in charge of editing Dark, and I would not have allowed this to go through if I had seen it.
And another line that actually got stopped was he had mentioned that they were in North Carolina and it stinks, and he was going to mention whatever what the hell's her name, Hart, the girl that's with the Hollywood Blondes. Oh my God, 1996 call, Brainless One. They want their tag team back. The whatever Blondes, the one that Brian Pillman's a part of. And they got
Varsity Blondes.
The Varsity Blondes, and they have Kiara Hart or something like that. And they were going to make a comment about her private parts.
Oh.
And luckily, he's like, and it smells here in North Carolina kind of like somebody's, and before he could even get the word that rhymes with Carolina out of his mouth, his tag team partner grabbed the microphone because it could have gotten so much worse.
Right. But again, it's an edited show, so but apparently they took down that version of Dark, re-edited it, and reposted it.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. there are parts of me that say that there are many things that I believe go too far as like going, you can't say that. Oh, you can't say that. You know what? Rape jokes aren't funny.
Nope.
So that's why I'm kind of like, you know, that's like Abe Washington all those years ago, and he got fired by making the Kobe Bryant rape joke.
Yep.
So, yeah, those aren't cool. I mean, I didn't think the Simone Biles thing was huge.
I didn't either.
But she is so beloved that, I mean, you can't even take a whiff of saying something bad about her, and people will come after you.
Right.
Especially people who don't really understand professional wrestling. Like going, they are acting, and like they're trying to get you to be upset.
Right. F and Mark's Hall of Famer Gags the Clown. Well, I'm assuming is he talking
about the F and Mark shirts?
Oh, I thought he was talking about the Hawaiian shirt you were wearing.
No. He's talking about the F and Mark shirt because there was a picture of Nicole that you posted today that she was wearing the shirt, and he was like, "How do I get one of these shirts?"
Ooh. We might.
So let him know how he could get that.
Eric, I will be contacting you to get a hold of you to let you know. I'm hoping that I have one in your size, because I only, for whatever reason, when I did this, wait a minute, message me with your address and size, and I'll send one out to you. What is going on here?
I'm gonna guess that's Nicole, because Nicole's an administrator, right?
I was about to say,
Yeah,
are you sending out messages with your mind, Jay? Is that what this is?
I do that too. Speaking of which, I have been teasing this for a couple of weeks about possible new merchandise, and it really is dependent on the public outcry for this. Now, this specific shirt was made specifically for the brainless one. He's doing an honor for me in a couple of weeks, and I was like, what can I get him that will be the greatest thing that he could wear? So I had this made.
Yeah? Holy shit! Oh, I fucking love it. That is... I'm speechless. That is the...
Yeah!
Jay, we watched the Red Sox win the World Series in 2004, and that shirt is the second greatest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, because us winning in 2004 was bigger.
Right. It hit me a few weeks ago where I'm like, what can I get the brainless one for this thing he is doing for me? And I was like, I know what I could do.
That is... I don't even have words. Jay, I don't even have words.
The brainless one is going to have the first ever version of this shirt. But if you're a fan of the show and know how much we love to say yeah, and I'm sure you all love to say yeah.
Yeah?
If you want to have your own effing Marks yeah shirt, you just let us know.
Oh my God. Also, if you like the old... Hold on, I actually got one. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I was doing...
We have the vintage shirt that the brainless one's going to have, and we have the yeah. Yeah? Sure.
How the hell did I not have one that I could pull out? Jesus Christ.
All right,
hold on.
Give
me a second.
I was going to say, if you can't find one, I can find one probably in about 30 seconds.
Well, I got the box right here. It's just that...
What's in the box?
What's in the box? But yeah, I got a...
Yeah?
Oh! I still got all these bad boys.
Yeah.
So maybe to make room for this new inventory of shirts that are coming in, maybe I'll have a brainless sale on the old vintage F&M Marks podcast shirts.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do them for $10 a pop.
Yeah, and shipping and handling.
Gags, I will work out a deal with you. Don't you worry about it. You get the, I would say the friends and family.
The Hall of Famer discount.
You get something even better. You get the Hall of Famer discount.
So those are a couple of the things we've been doing. One thing I did on the down low, and then we've had the other shirts for a bit, but we still have a couple of them left. But hopefully we've got everybody's sizes. So yeah.
Another thing, since we are talking about new ventures and new ideas and everything, I think this will be the time to basically announce the new ventures in regards to the F&M Marks, as yours truly, the brainless one. Since you don't get enough of me once a week, I've thought about adding a second show to the F&M Marks.
Yeah.
I've been in discussion. I've been telling Jay. Jay loves the idea. It looks like it's going to be Nicole and I who are going to be co-hosting a show on Wednesdays. I haven't decided what we're going to do yet. I've thrown out quite a few ideas. And in the words of the GOAT, he's buried somewhere in the back. In the words of the GOAT, Al, 4 touchdowns in a single game, Bundy, let's put it in the oven and see if it bakes.
Right.
Throw it on the wall, see if it sticks. Or my personal favorite, let's put it in bed with Madonna and see if she sleeps with it. But yeah, I've been throwing out a few ideas, and I think that a second show I think is going to be beneficial for the F&M Marks. We could call it the Brainless Hour.
Oh, it definitely will be. Yeah.
We could call it the Brainless Hour. We can come up with the Brainless Experience. Maybe I'll throw it out to the fans of the F&M Marks, and they can come up with a title of the new show.
Yeah. So, hey, have fun at the show tonight, Gags. You know what? There's nothing like an independent wrestling show. The fans are just something different. They really are.
Yeah, because
he's going to ACW. He is not going to Hampton Road Championship Wrestling. He's not going to HCW.
It might be no, it's not even. There was no program, so I can't even say the number 2 in the program and the bottom of the barrel in life. But
yeah.
Jeez, I'm melting in with the TV. All right, what else?
So as far as wrestling this week, I mean, we already got into the Goldberg-Lashley stuff. We'll just hit on a couple other things, I think.
Please.
You know, we had poor John Morrison. I love the dude. And he's just there to make everybody else look good at this point. He lost to Damian Priest, and then right after that, lost to Damian Priest and Ricochet with Sheamus as his partner. He ate the pin in both of them. Although I love the heck out of the fact that Miz is in the wheelchair with the dipstick every week. That's great. Honestly, I think John Morrison at this point is like going, hey, I'm earning a good check, and I'm with my best friend.
Right.
So I wish they would. I wish they would do a little bit more with him, because he still performs at an extremely high level, and a talented dude who is a pretty good promo and a great character.
Agreed.
But yeah, poor John Morrison. The curious booking of Karrion Kross continues. He lost to Keith Lee this week. How am I supposed to take Karrion Kross seriously when he can't win on Raw, but yet he you know, I'm supposed to believe he can beat Samoa Joe. I know that he has Scarlett down in NXT, but I mean, are they going to make that part of the storyline like they originally planned, where, hey, he can't win without her? She brings a different layer to him, a different thing.
Is Scarlett more like the urn for the Undertaker, or is she like the bell for Festus?
I'm going to say she is more like the urn.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the bell brought, you know, he went from zero to full tism.
It's so tremendous.
Yes, Sad Corbin is great. The fact that he has the disheveled look and he's growing out the non-hair that he has. Like me, once I realized that there wasn't anything going on there, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna shave it. And you know, Corbin had the skullet going for a little bit, and then finally shaved it all off. And but yeah, having the stain on, I mean, the stain just, it's that little detail that you're just like, I really believe he is a bum right now.
Yes. It was said improperly. It was Sad Corbin.
Sad.
He is one.
Sad Corbin.
It's sad for Baron Corbin right now. He needs money.
Make Baron Corbin great again. I'm going to come to WWE. I'm going to manage him. He is going to become the greatest superstar ever. He's going to become a happy, great Baron Corbin.
I cannot wait for the payoff on this. I am so excited because I think it's gonna either be really, really terrible, or no, it's gonna be really, really terrible.
It's going to be good and terrible.
Yeah.
We may watch it like today and be like, this is just a disgrace. 5 years from now, we'll be like, so bad it's good.
It's gonna have an award.
Old Day still has not reached that for me. That was just terrible.
That was terrible.
But there are certain things that as they get older, you're like going, that was so stupid, but yet so awesome.
It's kind of like when the Big Boss Man dragged the Big Show's dad's coffin out of the grave site. Oh, who am I kidding? That was great back then. It was great now.
For that short period, the Big Boss Man was the greatest heel.
I don't care what anybody says. He is the greatest heel of all time.
He cooked Al Snow, his dog.
Pepper.
Served it to him.
And then we got that sad.
He ruined the Big Show's dad's funeral. And like the Big Show, like being on top of the casket, getting dragged like the old school westerns, where like the person's getting dragged by a horse, and then like Big Show like flops off.
That was awesome. Nicole, we're going to be watching that at some point this weekend.
Oh, so good. So good.
Speaking of Monday Night Raw, let me ask you this question. When do we get the Punjabi prison match?
I'm going to say it's coming sometime between SummerSlam and Survivor Series. Right? That's the only way you could get Veer and Shank. I think it's Veer, Shanky and Veer. That's the only way you could keep them out.
Allegedly.
I still like my idea the other day of a multi-person Punjabi prison match. You get the Viking Raiders with Drew McIntyre going against
Veer, Schmear, and Jinder Mahal.
Yeah. The Jinder, Shanky, and Veer.
I can't. And just remember, Jay, once it happens, Jay Stradamus happens.
What will happen first? The next Punjabi prison match or Ava Marie versus Nia Jax? I bet Pat would put money on that.
After what he was telling us on Wednesday, what he bet on, yeah, nothing would surprise me.
Yeah.
The twinkle, I'll tell you right now, Jay, when I told him that you can bet on WWE on DraftKings, the twinkle in his eye was enough for me to see.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Even though Pat is not a wrestling fan, I want him on this podcast at least once.
Oh, we got to make it happen. We got to wait. What if we do a Fatal 4-Way podcast and it's the two of us with Evan Marks Hall of Famer El Jefe, and we'll come up with something like
that. Or maybe he could get involved with, if it ever happens, Total Brainless Annihilation.
Oh, God, I would love for that to happen.
He could hit you with like a spear, with his background.
Yes. But real quick on that, too, his face when I was trying to explain to him the Kenny Omega versus the blow-up doll and the Chinese girl that he wrestled in Japan, like, I've never seen a more disturbed look on anybody's face when I was explaining to him a wrestler fighting a blow-up doll and a 9-year-old Chinese girl. And he was like, you might want to be a little bit more informative of why you're talking about a 9-year-old Chinese girl in a restaurant.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah?
All right, so we did have a rematch between Nikki, almost a superhero, and Charlotte Flair, and it was a no-holds-barred match. Very happy to say that the champion actually won the damn match.
I couldn't agree more.
It's sad when it's shocking that the champion wins.
Considering that Charlotte Flair was not the champion in the match.
Right.
They had a hell of a match, too. That was fantastic.
Oh, it was great. I love the ending, how they did that, and Nikki looked pretty strong.
She did.
Still bullcrap what they did to her last week, but she looked strong.
Yes.
And we did have Rhea Ripley, who recent champion, going to be part of the triple threat match at SummerSlam, go against Nia Jax, and did beat Nia.
She blooded her up, too.
And Nia's hole apparently is still intact, though.
But the blood that was gushing out of her head, though.
Right.
That was pretty. I laughed for that. I know you asked me if I laughed about Kenny Omega calling Hangman Page a tryhard, but no, I laughed when Nia Jax got busted open.
Okay.
Does that make me a bad person?
I mean, you already predicted her double ACL.
Oh, shit. I'm never going to live that one down.
No, I mean, it's the most watched rant on our YouTube page. By the way, if you don't follow us on YouTube, make sure you do at youtube.com/thefnmarks. And that way you can see that rant. And if you're watching this on a replay, we also put the show up there.
Yeah?
And other fun little things.
I think I'm going to start utilizing the YouTube a little bit more because the fact that we got a lot of traction on that rant, making me feel like people need to see more of the brainless one.
Well, part of that is I wanted to start a thing called The Brainless One Loses His Mind. And maybe that could be the name of the Wednesday show, The Brainless One Loses His Mind.
How does one without a brain lose its mind? Chinese riddle for you.
Yeah?
It's such good shit.
All right, so that was most of Raw. We did have Omos versus Matt Riddle and mostly a squash match.
Yeah.
Randy Orton will be making an appearance soon, and we will be getting that tag team match.
At SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling that Orton and the greatest tag team since the Bar will be winning the titles at SummerSlam.
All right.
But we'll get into that when we get to SummerSlam.
Yeah. All right. So for NXT, we had a couple of things go on where Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross continuing to hype up their match for TakeOver 36 during SummerSlam weekend. Again, it's kind of, if you're watching all the shows, tough to take Karrion Kross seriously now as a champion because he keeps losing on the main roster. But he cut a pretty decent promo, and Samoa Joe basically just destroyed all of the trainees from the PC. And honestly, it looked like they were like putting him in there to get him to be able to do some moves in front of cameras. Because the last time he wrestled was, February 2020? So, 18 months of not wrestling in front of cameras. So he was able to get in a lot of his stuff in the ring, maybe kick off a little bit of rust before he actually has a match that weekend. And he looked like a badass. Now, I'd like to see what happens. Like, one of the things Vince Russo kind of would talk about is why Samoa Joe was not ever given a full green light push in TNA, was specifically, they would tape once a month. And they're like going, oh, Joe's in great shape. Yeah, we really need to push him. And then the next month he would show up and clearly not in the same shape. So they just didn't feel like they could push somebody whose level of discipline was all over the place.
Right.
I don't doubt the ferocity of what Samoa Joe will, do in the ring. I hope he is in ring shape.
Right.
Ready to go. And as far as ring shape, like, do it consistently.
Agreed.
Not like Cassius Ohno.
All I'm going to say is I'd like to see him get one warm-up match, like get in the ring with somebody and actually wrestle him before he fights Karrion Kross.
Okay.
And just anybody. You could throw anybody against him. You know who they could throw at him? What the hell was that dude's name? The Kona Reeves!
Yeah!
Let's throw him in the ring with freaking Kona Reeves.
Kona Reeves somehow has not been released.
That we know of. I still remember when he came out and they repackaged him, and they were like, this guy's got more charisma than The Rock, and I almost turned off the TV. That's almost as embarrassing as Excalibur saying that Kenny Omega is the Michael Jordan of professional wrestling. But, yeah. One thing that we did get from NXT this week that I wanted to bring up was we got a tag team match between, it was LA Knight teaming up with his butler, Cameron Grimes, to go up against the Grizzled Young Veterans. Solid match. I mean, you know what you're getting when Eli Drake and Cameron Grimes are in the ring. I love the Grizzled Young Vets. You know how much I love the Grizzled Young Vets. Hell of a performance. I love the fact that LA Knight just basically left Cameron Grimes hanging, which ended up...
And the reappearance of the GOAT.
My personal favorite, Ted DiBiase. But the Grizzled Young Vets did go over on Grimes and LA Knight. Obviously, when your tag team partner leaves and now it becomes a 2-on-1 handicap match, what'd you expect?
But Ted DiBiase more or less saying, like, hey, I told you this guy was like this, and you have to figure a way out of it. And when they started this storyline and having Grimes be the butler for LA Knight, obviously not like in the late 80s, early 90s, where Vince McMahon actually had a clear plan for Virgil and Ted DiBiase that was a like 3-year plan that eventually Virgil was going to turn against Ted DiBiase and, beat him. And the crowd went bonkers.
Yep, I remember.
When he finally stood up.
It was at SummerSlam, wasn't it?
It was SummerSlam. But the way they tell stories now, they're not going to take that long. It might be 6 months. It could be 3 months. At this point, we're at, what, a month and a half?
Yeah.
So obviously things go at a much quicker pace these days. We'll see where they continue to go with this. So far, so good.
Yeah.
You know, they're not doing the same exact thing every week.
One thing, another rivalry that's been going on is the Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano with
they had the lever or lever match this week.
And again, I mean, obviously it's Johnny Gargano, so what do you expect? So I mean, you know you're getting a great match. That dude could fight a turnbuckle and still have a 3.5-star match.
Right.
But you know, him and
he went over on Lumis in this match, but you know what? Even though the stipulation is what it is, you can't stop love.
Correct.
So Dexter Lumis and all his creepiness eventually will get the girl, and hopefully they don't botch this like they did with our boy Otis.
Oh, they probably will.
He gets the girl. Oh, and by the way, we're taking her away from him.
And your tag team partner, and the Money in the Bank briefcase, and for some strange reason, your beard.
Now, what they're doing with him now is great, but it's clear they didn't really have a plan for him after WrestleMania.
Agreed. And I'm convinced that he won the Money in the Bank as a ha ha. I got Otis win the Money in the Bank, ha ha.
This is such good shit, pal.
Just so the Miz.
I'm gonna swerve him. I'm gonna kill Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio and have them come back to life the next day.
Oh man.
See, at least with Aleister Black, with the way his entrance goes, you're like going, yeah, he's rising from the dead every night.
Yep.
Rey Mysterio, on the other hand, you know, maybe he just, you know, he knows how to land. He could land that 50-foot drop from the top of Titan Tower and just roll out.
It's kind of like a line from one of our personal favorite movies, The Sandlot. Heroes never die, but legends live forever.
Yeah.
And Rey Mysterio's a legend.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So Dexter Lumis is going to get the girl eventually in all his creepiness, and it's going to be great.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. So we had Hit Row going against Legado del Fantasma. This match, with the way the rivalry's been going, ended exactly as you would think. DQ, where Santos Escobar gets involved. It's clear that we're going to get a 6-man tag match coming up at TakeOver. And sign me up for it because I like what they've been doing with this storyline.
100% agree.
It's crazy, though, with like Isaiah Swerve Scott. It's like, you know, he was like a regular, you know, straight ahead babyface for a while. Then they had him completely turn and then kind of like turn again. I mean, this is almost Big Show level as far as how quickly he's from one to the other.
Down goes Frazier.
Yeah. What's up, Timmy?
What's up, Timmy?
Thanks for tuning in, man.
I agree with you. I love the way that they've actually built this Hit Row with Isaiah Swerve Scott. He is way too talented to just be kind of lost in the shuffle. And if they get a 6-man tag match out of this player, I'm on board with it.
All right, so there was that. We did have the return of Ridge Holland to the ring in a match how it should be booked for a guy who's supposed to be a monster coming back, more or less just a squash. So Ridge Holland in aligning himself still with Oney Lorcan and Pete Dunne. I don't know if this means at some point maybe Pat McAfee will, you know, be announcer and wrestler. He's obviously proved that he could do well enough in the ring to not embarrass himself. Better than Michael Cole as a wrestler.
And it's funny you bring that up because Pat McAfee earlier this week was the 1-year anniversary when him and Cole had that encounter on NXT where he kicked him and then got escorted out, and he mentioned it and everything. And I thought the same thing. Like, we could potentially see him get back in the ring again.
Yeah. So, again, with the guys that, he put together, can we see him part of that faction on NXT? I think they're all with the company, so it certainly can happen. Obviously, with Pete Dunne's contract situation, I know you believe that he will resign. I do too. I think Adam Cole is more of the wild card here, but it seems like Vince McMahon is going to put the full court press on Adam Cole to try to get him to re-sign. And I don't know if Vince McMahon's oblivious to this, but he may not know that Adam Cole's girlfriend is in AEW.
It's the same man who had no idea that Luke Gallows and Festus were the same person.
Right.
Oh, shit. That's such good shit.
It is. All right, so let's go quickly through AEW because we'd like to finish off before SmackDown, which is in 9 minutes.
All right, let's do it.
All right. We already talked about Kenny Omega and Hangman. After that, Kenny Omega did get smacked in the face by Hangman Page, which caused the Elite to go after him. Dark Order was coming to help out Hangman, but Hangman specifically told them to hold back. He's like, no, I want to do this on my own. But Frankie Kazarian came out to try to help him, and he ended up at the bottom of a pile of the Elite too. But a fine segment, and it goes back into the idea of Kenny Omega right now, I don't believe is ready to lose the title. Hangman should be the man who takes the title off him. They don't want him to. It's similar to the Ryback situation in 2012 when they were bringing back The Rock to go against CM Punk. It was like a no-win situation. So AEW, instead of putting themselves in that situation, well, all right, well, we're going to figure out a different way to get Hangman out of the match without making him look weak.
Right.
And they still have him involved with Kenny Omega. So one thing we don't have, but was answered a bit on Dynamite this week, we don't have an official match for your champion for your biggest or second biggest show, which is coming up in a month. Now, I think what's going to happen is August 20th, we're going to see CM Punk, and CM Punk will be what brings the house in for All Out, where people will want to buy a pay-per-view. Not just, I mean, they've already sold the tickets at the arena.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
That's all taken care of.
15 minutes they sold out those tickets.
If you want to buy it on pay-per-view, you will buy it to watch CM Punk come back in whatever manner he is. So I think that's what they're doing a bit. Beyond that, we had Christian Cage beat the Blade this week on AEW Dynamite. After the match, he had an interview with Tony Schiavone. Christian Cage is undefeated in singles competition since he's joined AEW, and he was named the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship.
Sign me up.
Christian and Omega are going to put on a great match.
Oh, of course, 100%.
They certainly aren't going to have the time to tell a story as well as they are with Hangman and Omega right now. But they'll be able to figure out enough of a story to compel you. But again, you put the two in the ring, it's going to be a good match. I know it's 10 years ago. Christian and Randy Orton was the feud of the year in 2011. Every match that they had, you're like, how could they do better than this one?
Yep.
They did it each time.
Yep. Better
and better and better. And you put Christian in the ring with anybody, he makes them look good. Kenny Omega, for all the derpity derp, the derp, the derp, the derp with the face and the hair.
And the beard.
is an incredible performer, and I will not take that away from him. And he and Christian will have a classic match.
They will. I 100% agree.
I agree, Tim. They can't wait too long with Hangman, but they may wait until Double or Nothing because they want it to be on a signature show. And, Kenny Omega being, the belt collector, he hasn't been the belt collector for, super long. I think he needs to keep it just a bit longer. I'm just stating the truth, Brainless One. I know you're getting all fired up over there because you're going to have to see more of the derp. By the way, I love Don Callis, wearing, the face mask and, spraying the ring. That was pretty good in this segment.
That's a GOAT move right there.
Right.
Another thing that happened on AEW, and I cannot believe this, because what year is this, Jay?
It is 2021.
We got Chris Jericho and Juventud Guerrero.
And guess what? Both of them can still go well enough.
Yep.
They don't go like they did 10 years ago or 20 years ago. But holy crap, they can still both go. I loved the whole presentation of this. MJF on commentary being his dickish self, trying to say that he taught Chris Jericho moves. And Jim Ross is like, I highly doubt that you taught him anything. And MJF just shoots right back. He's going, I am the best performer in this company. I'm undefeated. Everybody has tried to beat me, and nobody can. Because he's still saying that Jon Moxley did not beat him. All that being said, it's what he's saying is true.
Yep.
And he's going, I am the best performer in this company. Everybody can learn something from me. It was a great back and forth. And even the bit for this match was Chris Jericho needed to win the match by doing an off-the-top rope move. And that's exactly what he did. Obviously, one of the other things with this is they played up their history. They talked about how they had 22 matches before. MJF said, you know why I picked Juventud Guerrera? He's had all these matches with him because he hates Jericho as much as I do. I love that he played that into it. And they talked about not just the WCW feud, but said, hey, their first match was in Mexico. I think they said 25 years before. And they had matches around the world. And now they were going back to the home of where their feud was the hottest and the longest, which was on TNT.
Yep.
I liked how they infused that into it, and I liked how the end of the match, we got the Flying Judas effect.
Yes.
It was a cool looking move. I love I'm sure he's probably still actually got the cuts that he's recovering from, but had the big giant Band-Aid on his head from the match he had last week against Nick Gage.
Right.
But after Jericho wins, MJF mentions, all right, well, you won that test. All right, your fourth test. He is going to go against Wardlow next week. Now, Wardlow was originally the last test for Cody Rhodes.
Yep. In a cage.
All right, so if Wardlow is the fourth in line, what's MJF going to come up with? And the other thing that's not super clear here is MJF talked about how he was going to be there to make sure the match was fair and square. Does that mean he's supposed to be the referee?
He is the referee. They announced it right after that he's going to be the referee of the Wardlow Jericho match.
So obviously they're going to find a way to make it so Jericho has to win, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It'll be similar to when, Vince McMahon was the ref of the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus was a Dude Love match. And Vince McMahon said, my hand has to do the 3 count.
Yes.
And Stone Cold knocked him out, and then
1, 2, 3. Yep.
So are we going to see something like that, or are they coming up with their own unique ending? I'm going to say it's Chris Jericho, so there will be a unique ending that will not mirror what we've seen before.
Unless we get Little Nate running down the ring like the Ultimate Warrior.
You never know.
Very true.
All right, so we had that. And we had a debuting Malachi Black going against Cody Rhodes. And guess what? For the most part in this match, Malachi Black dominated.
That entrance was bad ass.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So the one complaint about this segment was at the end of the match, they gave Cody a very, very long time to talk. And he's kind of implying that he is about to retire. He's great at acting and like getting the tears and like sounding like he's choked up. And I'm like going, pretty good. And it's like going, dude, you're 36 years old. Come on, you're not retiring. We know that. You know, part of the storyline here was that Malachi Black said that, you know, he doesn't see the fire in Cody anymore, and it's dangerous for Cody to be in the ring with a guy like Malachi, and Malachi proved it. And part of that, I guess, would be Cody like going, realizing like, the new breed is in, and the new breed, I can't deal with them, but this is just going to be the fire that gets lit under Cody that will propel him and his character forward. I do appreciate the fact that he doesn't mind losing. It wasn't a squash match, but it was not super competitive.
It was a little more one-sided than anything else.
So I appreciate that. And similar to what he did with Brody Lee all those months before.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I would say I thought it was a good overall segment. The promo was a bit long-winded. For my liking.
And I know that he's going to be shooting that second season of that show that he did, and obviously that's going to be part of the reason why he's taking time off. And also, he's a dad. He just became a father. So he's going to want to spend time with his wife and his kids. So I get it. And he's not going to retire. We're going to see Cody Rhodes again in the ring, and he's going to be just as good as he was before.
Because guess what? He still wants to have his match against Sting.
Yep.
So, all right, going through things. All right, let's go with our good, bad, and brainless for this week.
So what was your good for this week, Cousin Jay?
I'm going with the full package of Juventud Guerrera and Chris Jericho. The MJF stuff on commentary, MJF during the match, before the match, and after the match itself, all the things they put in place to set that up. That is my good for this week.
I am going to go with Malachi Black's debut, in-ring debut on Wednesday. Again, like you said, he had a dominating performance. He looked good, got over on Cody Rhodes, attacked Cody Rhodes after the match when Cody was taking his boots off because he looked like he was going to retire. But that entrance with the skull, oh my God, it was everything about Malachi Black on Wednesday was fantastic. And I remember somebody on Twitter said real quick, they said, you want to know how you make a star in 15 minutes? And they showed clippets of him on Wednesday. That's how it's done. So that's my good.
Sweet.
What do you got for your bad?
All right, my bad for this week is the continued booking of Karrion Kross. Again, how can I take him seriously? Like how can I think he's going to beat Samoa Joe? He's lost to Keith Lee and he's lost to Jeff Harvey. And I know that part of this is like going, well, he doesn't have Scarlett with him. It's like, well, why doesn't he just bring her with him? Why?
It's his wife.
Are they going to be able to explain that? Like, I think any explanation would be dumb. So the booking of Kross.
Now, for me, for my bad and brainless, I kind of flip-flopped, and I couldn't figure out which one was bad and which one was brainless, but I'm going to go with it anyway. My bad for this week is the whole handling of the Bray Wyatt situation. The man got cleared 2 days before you released him. The man was making you a fuck ton of money in the shop and all the paraphernalia and all that stuff, and you were promoting him to.
Budget cuts.
Budget cuts.
He was making you money, and you.
Yeah. I just don't get it. So I'm sorry. That's my bad for this week.
All right.
What do you got for brainless?
My brainless is the whole Adam Cole and Pete Dunne contract situation. How do you mess that up? How do you miss something like this? Adam Cole is your most important star on NXT. How do you not know when that person's contract is up?
Yep.
That is terrible. Terrible. Basically, his contract expired, and in good faith, he's like going, yeah, I'm going to stick around to finish out this storyline.
Yep.
They could go on with he and Kyle O'Reilly for another, 5 years, probably.
Yeah.
But WWE dropping the ball on both of those things, similar to like they did with Alistair, a.k.a. Malachi Black.
Yep.
Terrible.
I agree.
And that's my brainless.
My brainless for this week was something that I was supposed to mention earlier in the podcast, but either way, I'm going to bring it up now. So it came out for tonight's SmackDown at the arena that they're at. WWE is banning fans from taking pictures and recording videos. And if you are caught taking pictures or recording videos at SmackDown tonight, you're automatically out. I guess WWE got really butthurt over the fact that there was fans that were going to the shows, staying afterwards and recording John Cena's matches because, last week he had the match where it's him and Edge versus the Usos, and it was just getting out there, and I guess WWE was pissed off. So they're banning fans from using their phones to record videos and take pictures. I get the video part. I do. I get it. You don't want stuff getting leaked out. You don't want people seeing certain things. That's fine. But to ban people from taking pictures is just stupid. It is foolish, right. And it's just it's brainless. Right.
Right.
But that is my brain this week. So whether so this is my God,
first time or long time viewer. If make sure you like us on all the different social media.
Twitter,
platforms.
Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. At the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, the F and Marks. If you like and follow and subscribe to us and all those, we will follow, subscribe, and like you all back. That's always been our
mantra.
Damn right.
All right. And we also go live every week on our page, the F and Marks page, as well as the All Elite Marks page. Set up notifications so that when we go live, you will be notified that we are live. And just a FYI programming note, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to say that there's going to be a whirlwind of activity going on for me. So when and where the podcast happens, don't know.
Ooh, are we going to do it from, could we be doing it from parts unknown?
I don't know. Part of me is, we're going to try to do it every week, but there's a possibility we may miss a week.
It happens.
Possibility. Because very big things are going on for me in a little over 2 weeks.
There you go.
So, yeah.
One more thing before we do the goodbyes. Today, which is going to be part of it, August 6th, is my fiance's birthday today.
Yeah.
Nicole, who is a very integral part of the podcast. She's one of our biggest fans. She has helped us out immensely since she has entered our lives. So I want to give a birthday shout out to Nicole. Happy birthday. I love you, honey, and you are very important to me.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Nicole. And
such good shit.
Yeah.
But
all right. I guess that's it.
No.
Wait.
One more thing. That's because today, on August 6th, August 6th, 2021, and astonishing 2,385 days, FM Marks Hall of Famer is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Yeah!
I nailed it the last time. I knew I was going to fuck it up this time.
All right.
It's not the worst thing I've ever done on the podcast.
So, all right.
For
So for episode 233 of the F and Marks podcast, I'm Jay.
And I am the brainless one. Make sure you mark out
with your clock out. See ya, everybody.
Thanks
Have
for tuning in.
Enjoy SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah. I acknowledge the tribal chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Jay.
See you later.
Yep.